To begin with, the player is presented with some narrative information and are placed within a small shack. The player can then exit and the range state will change. This uses a low pass filter to affect the sounds. There's also a reverb within the shack. The player is guided by these gust sounds when stood still. The player can walk into new surfaces such as the water and get different type of play effects. Objects such as this ship here have a metal impact sound applied. There's a small wave sound effect, which uses an AK ambient in large mode to save CPU resources. Entering a new region changes the range state, and is found with the bonus objectives. This is a reference to the Resident Evil 4 game. Within the church, there is a low-pass filter applied and a different reverb zone. You can hear wooden footsteps in this area. While in the building, there's a different type of rain that plays. This is the inside building plane. This changes depending on which type of building you're in. Here, the player waits for a wind gust to tell them which direction to play in. It's localized to their left, so they know to turn and face their left to continue walking. This bridge has a wooden footstep effect applied. All the footsteps have a wet effect applied so that they sound as if the player is walking in a rainy environment. Another state is applied here to low pass the rain. Here there are some sound effects to draw the player towards the staircase off to the right, and when they walk into the room there's some sounds above them to indicate they should head upstairs. The staircases have a wooden step type. Carpet areas change the wooden footsteps types by putting a very tight band pass on them. Upon picking up the duck, there is more narrative information provided, and the player is told where to head next. This also changes the wind state, which will be audible once the player heads outside. The reverb zone changes based on which area of the main building that they're in. Due to the distance to the next objective, the wind has become louder and more intense and varied. This will decrease as the player gets closer to the objective throughout the level. As you can see in the bottom left hand corner, there's a shadow now following the character. This is the duck objective that the player just picked up. The trees are aware of wind physics. This means that they blow in the direction of the objective along with the rain particles. To ensure consistency, these values are passed at the same time to the physics engine and to Wwise. Objects like this metal antenna tower have a metal impact sound. Other objects have these sorts of sounds, including wooden fences and the telephone poles. Wind gust tells us that we need to head off to our right to go further, so the player is heading towards the mountain area. As the player gets closer to the objective, the angle at which the rain is pointed decreases. This is to increase the difficulty of the level as the player gets closer to the objective. Entering the mountain region again changes the footstep type and changes the rain state. Now we have a more hail or snow like sounding rain, and gravel is the rain footstep type. Player again waits for a wind gust to tell them which direction to head. It is localized off to their left, so they know they need to head towards their left. When walking onto the mountain, a different footstep switch is applied. This is the snow type step. These function in random containers, which are continually playing, and initial delay is varied using the speed of the player object. This creates the effect of steps falling one after the other. There's a low-pass filter applied to this shed, similar to the shack from the beginning of the game. The cake bonus objective is a reference to the cake in the game Portal. On collecting the second objective, the wind again changes. This becomes now wild, sort of like on a mountain. This is using a third type of wind. There's a different wind for each objective. The player steps down off the mountain and it switches back to the gravel type. Same wave sound effect is used here in different areas around the map. Entering this new area changes the state again to a rain on leaves state. This is where the third bonus objective is, however we've exited the collider too quickly and not seen the objective. In this area, the rain sounds like it's blowing on the leaves of the trees. The wind is generated at runtime, using subtractive synthesis. These are both the gusts and the general wind sounds. The rain uses granular synthesis, given a small sample of rain, then generates thousands of small variants of that sound per second to give the effect of infinite amounts of rain without any of the repetition of sample. The player used the audio gust there to know which direction to orientate themselves to head towards the objective. By turning to face the objective, the player centered the wind gust, and as the wind gust moved past them, they were then easily able to track which direction they needed to head in. The fan says how colliders on them would play impact sounds on entry. The player has now found the third and final objective. This is the end of the level.